Beginning of 2024, I installed on my Honda CRF300L the frame protectors and engine cover protectors from the company Acerbis. These are protectors made of plastic, and I share the experience or the how to install them here on the channel. Some subscribers, they raised an interesting point that I think is quite valid, in particular about the engine cover protectors. So the idea was that they would overheat the engine, and second, that they would make things even worse because they would trap a lot of dirt between the cover and the protector. The protectors, they do not sit right on top of the engine cover, but there is a little bit of a gap in there. So there is a gap, and I think that makes sense because it's to improve air ventilation. But you can imagine that having this gap, it could be a place for mud to get in there, stones to get in there, and that would just end up scratching the cover and make things even worse. For example, if you would drop the motorcycle and now you have just a single point, a stone, that stone would get pushed against the engine cover. I must say that I think there is quite a good logic in there. That's a valid concern, and that's exactly what I want to answer on this video. Now we are going to check this together. I've been using non-stop these engine covers for 8 months. I'm just back from a longer motorcycle trip. I was 2 weeks on the road in Hungary and Croatia. A lot of hot weather. We were taking temperatures above 35 degrees pretty much daily. We got up to 39 degrees. I think in Fahrenheit that's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So the weather was quite hot. A friend of ours almost had a heat stroke, Philip. We will have a separate video to cover this here on the channel. And I also rode on lots of different types of terrain. So there was a lot of dust, sand, mud, stony terrain. So there was a mix of everything. Since returning from this motorcycle trip, I have not washed, neither removed the covers. I'm going to remove them live here together with you, so you can see together with me, do we really have a lot of dirt between the cover and the engine? And point number 2, I'm just going to have to tell you, has my engine overheated or not now that I have the engine covers? Let's get started by removing together the engine covers. Now this is the Royal Moto 2 roll. I was using this exact toolkit throughout the entire trip, and I must say it has performed just perfectly. Of course, that's the 2 roll plus the tools that I have in here. All of this is available also on the Royal Moto websites if you want to check it out. Okay, so let's start in here by removing the skid plate that I have installed, and that should give you a pretty good idea of just how much dirt. So that's exactly what we want to check, if now between this plastic cover and the engine cover we also have a lot of dirt and also stones. So here it is, the last screw coming out. I must say that based on what I see here, I have absolutely no concerns whatsoever. There is really not a lot of dirt in here. It doesn't mean that dirt cannot get here in the future, but at least the way I have put it now to use, I see no substantial amount of gunk between the cover and the engine. It's really fine. Now let's check out the right side. So also in my opinion, here on the right side, I don't see anything that I would be overly concerned in here. And maybe something interesting for you to know, I have just noticed this, but I definitely got a hit here on this section that would be right on top of my oil filter cover. I do have a hit in here, no idea how strong it was, but it has taken some of the plastic. So what's my opinion about it? Well, theoretically, everybody who mentioned there that a lot of dirt can potentially get stuck between the plastic cover and the engine cover, theoretically that is correct. In practice, I think the chance of this happening is quite limited. Now the space between the engine cover and the engine cover itself, I would estimate here to be about maybe 2-3 millimeters, so it's not that much. So I cannot see that any large stone would get lodged in there. Could happen, okay, I'm not saying it's impossible. And by the way, this is not a sponsored video. I'm not trying to sell this. I bought these products with my own money, and I'm just sharing my opinion with you. You buy if you want, or if you don't want, for me it doesn't matter. But I think it's not really a valid concern. It is there, could be, but in practice I think it's very unlikely. What about the overheating? Well, the overheating, you have to take my word for it, because I cannot simulate overheating my motorcycle in here. But what I can tell you is that it has not happened. So at no point during this trip have I gotten an alarm that the engine was overheating. Now, Is the engine running 1, 2, 3 degrees higher than usual? I don't know. I have no way to make a lab test in here comparing before and after, but what I can tell you is that whatever Honda has specified to be the trigger point for the temperature, high temperature on the motorcycle, it has never reached that point. So also in there, I would say it's fine. Now let's move to the frame protector, and I think this one here is quite straightforward and you're gonna have an opinion very soon. Here you should be able to clearly see what is exactly my concern, and that's a very common thing to happen with the CRF300L. With the Rally seems to be better. With the L, the thickness and the quality of the paint coat that is applied here on the frame seems to be quite poor. And this here, of course, happened before I installed the protectors, so it would have been nice to have the protectors before that. But the moment I realized I was already on a motorcycle trip and I couldn't take care of this, and here you can see this is with about 1 month of riding. So this already happened, 1 month of riding. So yeah, definitely do their job, and here I see no concerns of overheating, neither that dirt gets stuck in here, it doesn't matter. Now the frame protectors, they are attached to the frame via O-rings. I mean, these are standard O-rings, there's nothing special about them. And some guys commented that these would fail. And I agree with them, mine have not failed, but I am 100% sure. I mean, this is rubber exposed to the elements, so it's just a matter of time until these will dry out and then they're gonna crack and just get loose. Is it a big deal? Probably not. What I would then do is just attach the protectors using zip ties. That would be my idea, but that's a valid concern. You can be ready, you can be sure that these will fail. In fact, when you buy the protectors, it already comes with some additional O-rings, because probably Acerbis already know that's just some spare, as they know it's going to fail. Now that we have seen everything, what is my opinion? Would I buy it again? Well, I would buy it again. I'm quite happy with it because I see two ways. If you want to add some protection to your Honda CRF300L, and let's be honest, this is a dual sport. It is a motorcycle that if you use for what is intended, you know you're going to drop it a few times, especially if you're taking it off-road. You can either install some tubes, some metal tube piping, engine guards, frame protectors, or you can go the light route. In my opinion, for this type of motorcycle, the Honda CRF300L, I much rather just have something light and simple. These parts, I can't even tell you how light they are, but you can imagine this is just a plastic sheet. And I'm happy enough with that. I'm not expecting to have here more protection than this. This is sufficient for me, and they're very light, they're easy to install, and I could see no negative so far. For the frame protector itself, for me it's a no-brainer. If your CRF300L is still brand new, then I would definitely recommend that you just go and install them. And you don't need to buy this one here. As I told you at the beginning, this is not a sponsored video. I'm just showing to you how has been my experience. You could even buy from a different brand, or there might be some stickers that you just put on top, but I think it's worth to protect the frame, and it's regardless if you care about the cosmetics or not. It is not I don't care that my frame is looking a bit uglier. That's not what I'm trying to hide in here. I'm just trying to protect the metal itself. I think you could already see in there that I was down to the bone of the metal. The paint was completely stripped off, and I don't want this to keep happening. I don't want this lack of paint, this hole on my paint, to just keep growing. So if yours is brand new, I would say just try to address this from the beginning. And for the engine guards, if you're already going to buy the frame protectors, you probably have to pay the shipping charges anyway. They are not that expensive, and if you're happy with this minimum protection, very light, very minimalistic and minimum protection, I think you're going to be happy with it. If you still have any questions after watching this video, of course just drop here a comment and I'll get back to you with my personal opinion. Do me a favor and check out the toolkits that we have at royalmoto.com/toolkits, especially for the Honda CRF300L. I think you're really going to enjoy that. That's it for this video, and I see you on the next one. Bye bye guys, ride safe.